A residential drywall cart. If you're a drywall delivery crew, there is no greater tool. Whether holding, loading, moving, maneuvering, or unloading, you will need to know safe practices and procedure. So please pay attention to the following 15-minute video. When holding a cart, brace with your knees or your shins on the inside bars, holding with your hands on the same bars above your legs. When pulling board through a window or slider, pull the drywall, placing it gently on the cart. Slide it across the Teflon until you've reached the halfway mark. Hold the lean of the drywall towards you so that the bottom is nice and tight. Do not walk with the board when pulling the drywall. Put it on the cart and push it with your arms standing in one spot so you can catch the back as it comes off the slider. When filling a cart, the last few sheets you will need to brace with your knee while keeping the lean to keep the board from falling off the cart. Be mindful of where you place your feet. When pulling bigger or heavier types of drywall, grab the board initially, giving it a shake, allowing air to get between the two sheets. This will make it easier for you to pull. Nothing happens in a day. Get good, then get fast. Sometimes when pulling through a low window or hatch, or just when the lift raises by taking weight off of it, by the time you get the drywall to the cart, you are no longer resting on the slider. Should you proceed pulling, when the drywall comes off of the forks, it will fall, hitting the slider and crushing the window should you be using one. To prevent this, pull the drywall past the cart before placing it on the cart. This allows you to keep the drywall on the slider until you have pulled it off of the forks, and you can safely place it on the cart, keeping it on the slider the entire time and preventing it from falling. When loading a cart by yourself, place your foot on the inside front wheel with your shin placed against the frame rail. Only attempt this if you are comfortable. When pulling on an angle or pulling board through a window corner to corner, pull the board slowly through the window, ensuring you don't smash it, holding the lean and staying at the window the entire time. This will allow you to have more control over the drywall and to make sure you don't hit the window. Make sure to use that shaking technique we discussed earlier. When you are unable to get the cart near the slider or hatch because of a step or any other various reasons, you will have to pack the drywall to the cart. Pulling the drywall through the window, making sure it doesn't fall. Walking to the cart, placing the drywall on the cart. Make sure you have the wheels chalked so the cart doesn't wander when you place the board on it. When dealing with large overhangs and you are unable to get the crane close enough to put the drywall on the cart, you will have to sacrifice a person to use them as a slider to pass the board to another person who is putting the board on the cart by theirself using the foot technique we discussed earlier. Sometimes you may find this procedure safer than packing the drywall up a temporary ramp or staircase. Remember, work smarter, not harder. When placing drywall on a cart through a basement window, slide the drywall across the cart until you reach the halfway mark, and then flip the drywall up onto the cart. If you're doing this with long board, you will have to spread your arms as you do so to keep the board from snapping. If you have a third worker on site with you, use him to hold the cart. Otherwise, you will have to find something to chock the tires with. When steering or turning carts, brace the top and push at the bottom. This will prevent you from flipping the cart. You can use your knee or your hand. When pushing a cart, the person on the front will walk backwards, pulling the drywall, looking side to side. The person on the back mainly just pushes. When hopping over studs or other various things such as extension cords, squeeze the drywall tight together, keeping it from bouncing apart and falling off the cart. Try to make this technique a last resort. When clearing a pathway, just won't work. When turning carts through doorways, there is one clear right way. This is a wrong procedure. Notice how the person on the front's hands are constantly in danger. Remember to keep your hands clear of pinch points. In this procedure, the person on the back really has nothing to push from, and the person on the front's hands are in danger. This is proper procedure. The person on the front stays on the back side, pushing the drywall with their hand or knee, keeping them free of pinch points. Once in the hallway, you can flip the drywall over against the wall, trusting that it won't fall. Remember not to do this with steel stud walls. Leaning the board towards the stud and pushing with your knee to keep the board off of the stud, you can squeeze the front end of the cart through the doorway. The person on the front of at the rear side of the cart to pull the cart in either direction to help it along, while the person at the very back of the cart has a nice big surface to push on. Here is another example in a tighter doorway. When flopping a pile onto the floor off of a cart, try to work at the same speed as the other person on the other end. When not in sync with the other person on the other side, you may find that the board needs to go more one way than the other. Do not just simply push or simply pull, as this is hard on your back. Simply let the one person push his corner flush with the edge of the pile. By doing this, it will make the front side flush with the edge of the pile on the other side. Wait for this to happen and then slide to match with the other side. No pushing or pulling. Here it is in real time. Remember, work smarter, not harder. And here's another angle of it. Using one hand to slide the board with and one hand to guide the board with, slide the drywall until it is square with the pile underneath. If you find yourself sliding it too far, try pressing down with your thumbs for more control. Always make sure your piles look nice, whether on the wall or floor. Somebody's paid for that. You're performing a service. Safety is the number one thing. The number two thing is quality. When walling a pile off of a cart, clamp the drywall with two hands at the top of the sheet, dropping it straight down approximately 6 inches from the wall. Clamp the next one and lean the bottom of the sheet with your knee towards and allow it to just slide down, keeping it tight to the bottom of the pile. This is more of a balancing trick than lifting, as displayed when the person lets go with one hand here to demonstrate. Try to be on sync as much as you can with the other person on the other side. This will limit how much you have to push the drywall flush with the rest of the pile. From this angle, it may be hard to tell. However, the drywall is being pushed flush with the individual's leg, not hand. And remember, when wheeling carts, especially full carts, over studs or power cords, squeeze the board together, keeping it nice and tight, preventing it from bouncing apart and falling off of the cart when rolling over objects. Be mindful of where you place your feet. Be sure to look side to side when steering a cart. This doesn't mean you don't have to help pull with the guy who's pushing on the back. Remember, it's a team effort. Understanding how your body moves and works is key to not hurting yourself on a job site. Work smarter, not harder. I can't stress it enough. Always turn carts from the bottom, bracing at the top, and never push carts by yourself. Just like any job, carts are tools and need to be respected. Respect your tools, respect your job. Everyone needs to get home safe. Now you've got the gist of it. A little more to it than you may have originally thought. Drywall is big, awkward, and heavy. So these drywall carts are more important than you know. It doesn't happen in a day. Get good, then get fast. Work smarter, not harder. And when you're working as smart as possible, you'll find working a little faster isn't much harder at all.